Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss regarding 2018 O-level MCQ paper, right? So let's move on to question number 1, right? So which of the following is an example for a plant which does not produce seeds, right? So when you take plants, as I discussed before in the last paper also, plants can be mainly divided into two as flowering plants and non-flowering plants, right? Then flowering plants, every flowering plant produce seeds. When you take non-flowering plants can be divided into two as non-flowering plants with seeds and non-flowering plants without seeds. Cycas and Pinus, they are non-flowering plants with seeds, while Salvinia is a non-flowering plants without seeds. So other than Salvinia, we can take Nephrolepis, Selaginella, Marcantia, Pogonatum. Those are also non-flowering plants without seeds, right? Okay, so fourth one is a flowering plant. Blue water lily is a flowering plant. Okay, so the answer is third one. Next one, sub question number 2. The SI unit of force in fundamental unit is. Okay, so you know force is equal to mass into acceleration, right? Force is equal to mass into acceleration. That means mass is measured in kilograms, acceleration is measured in ms minus 2 meters per square second. So the unit will be kgms minus 2. So answer is first one. So question number 3, which of the following is a homogeneous mixture, right? So when you take wheat flour and water, right, that will be a heterogeneous mixture because the composition will not be the same everywhere throughout the mixture. But if you take ethyl alcohol and water, it is readily soluble, right? So that will be the homogeneous mixture out of the other ones. Let's see, coconut oil and water. Coconut oil floats on water, therefore you can't take that. If you take clay and water, when you mix clay and water, clay will be going to the bottom, right? That means the composition will not be same. Okay, so homogeneous mixture is ethyl alcohol plus water. Second one is the answer. Fourth one, which of the following statement is false about a silicon NPN junction transistor? Okay, let's read. First one, it can be used as amplify signals. Correct, because you know transistors, there are three main functions, right? You can amplify signals, you can amplify current, and also you can use it as a switch. So an answer other than these three should be the false one. So first one is correct, second one is correct, third one is correct. So answer should be fourth one. It is used to rectify alternate voltage. That's wrong. To rectify alternate voltage, we use rectifying diodes. Mainly diodes are used. Okay. So if you can remember, we use 4 diodes for full wave rectification and 1 diode for half wave rectification. Okay. Right. Let's move to question number 5. If an object is to stay in equilibrium under 3 forces, right? So they have not said here it's regarding parallel forces or non-parallel forces. So we have to consider both of them, right? So first one, the resultant force of two forces should be in the same direction as that of remaining force. That's wrong, right? Resultant force should be opposite in direction. This should be opposite. So the first one is wrong. Next one, resultant force of three forces should be 0. That's correct, right? Second one is correct. Third one, the three force should be coplanar. That's also correct. Fourth one, the lines of action of three force should meet at same point. So this is correct regarding non-parallel forces. But if you take equilibrium under parallel forces, they do not meet each other, right? For an example, if I do it like this, see, here 10 newtons, let's say here 8 newtons and 2 newtons, right? Here it doesn't meet at a one point, right? So fourth one is wrong because it's not common always, right? So when you take 2 and 3, out of 2 and 3, both are correct, right? But the most suitable one will be the second one. Why? Because normally if you take even 4 forces, 5 forces, likewise, in every equilibrium, the main thing that should be present there is the resultant force should be 0, right? So there are some instances where the forces are not coplanar always, right? So you'll get to learn in A levels that. Let's move on to question number 6. In the urine filtration process taking place in kidneys, which of the following is filtered into the glomerulus from the blood? So first one, blood cells, second one, plasma proteins, glucose, platelets. Okay. So when you take this filtration process, right? So filtration is mainly done by the glomerulus, right? So from the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule, the filtration process is happening. Okay, so here mainly blood cells and plasma proteins do not filter into this Bowman's capsule, right? So answer should be except blood cells and plasma protein. Any other answer is correct here. So blood cells, plasma protein, and platelets, all of those are not filtering. So the only one that is filtering is glucose. Seventh one, the typical cell is okay. So when you take a typical cell, let's say typical bacterial cell, so there are various kinds of bacteria, right? So in each and every bacteria, they do not have each and every organelle. But when you consider typical bacteria cell, we include every organelle that is present in each and every bacteria, right? So answer should be the constructor cell that is contain all the organelles, right? This is a typical cell. This is not a real cell. Okay, this is something uh, theoretical that we used to study about cells. Question number 8. Which of the following equipments is based on the phenomenon of electromagnetic induction? So let's remind about what is electromagnetic induction. There, what is happening? Normally, there should be a relative motion in between magnet and the coil or the conductor, right? So what is happening when there is a relative motion is there will be a current generated or current induced in the coil, right? So when you take the first two answers, direct current motor and loudspeaker, in direct current motor, we are rotating it. If it is a loudspeaker, we are converting that into sound energy, right? In electric bell, it's a normal one, which is using electromagnets, but it's not a electromagnetic induction. But in fourth one, moving coil magnetic microphone, it's a phenomenon where we use electromagnetic induction, right? What's happening there is we are speaking into that microphone, and what's happening there is there will be a small diaphragm which is vibrating with our sound wave, right? So with the sound wave, there will be a coil which is vibrating, and that will induce a current. Okay, let's move on to question number 9. Of the fruit shown in the following diagrams, which could be a fruit that has suitable adaptations to disperse by water? So to disperse by water, there should be spaces, right? Gaps in which it should have air-filled cavities. Okay, so out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see answer number 2, right? There we have some air-filled cavities, right? So that fruit can be dispersed by water. So answer should be second one. If you take first one, there are clamps like things. So these are mainly dispersed by animals. And also part 3 also, they have some wings like structures. And answer number 4, they have some hairy structures. So these are mainly dispersed by wind. Okay. So let's move on to question number 10. Consider the following statement about catalyst. A. Catalysts increase as well as decrease reaction rates. That's wrong, right? Why? Catalysts don't decrease reaction rates. The only thing that catalyst does is increase the rate of reaction, right? So decreasing, we call it another name as inhibitors, right? Inhibitors are the ones which decrease the rate of reaction. Part B, though catalysts take part in chemical reaction, they are not consumed in the reaction. That's correct, right? And also part C, a small amount of the catalyst is adequate for a large amount of reactants. So that's also correct, right? So even though you increase an amount of catalyst, that will not increase the rate of reaction. But if you add even a small amount, that will increase the rate of reaction, right? So increasing the amount of catalyst will not increase the rate of reaction, but presence of a small amount of catalyst will increase the rate of reaction normally. Okay, so first one is wrong and BC correct. So they are asking the true statements. So answer will be only B and C. Next one, question number 11. You have an equation where two monosaccharides are used to form a disaccharide and a water molecule. Right. Okay. So they're asking certain appropriate examples for A and B. Okay. So when you take glucose and maltose, right? Glucose is a monosaccharide, maltose is a disaccharide. So you can take that answer correctly. But let's check the other answers too. Okay. So answer number 2, glucose and cellulose. So cellulose is a polysaccharide, and so you can't take it. Then you have part A, fructose and starch. So fructose is a monosaccharide, but when you take starch, it's also a polysaccharide, so you can't take it. Answer number 4, they are given fructose in part A and part B glycogen. Glycogen is also wrong because glycogen is a polysaccharide. So if you can remember, glycogen is the storage carbohydrate of animals, right? Starch is a storage carbohydrate in plants. So answer should be the first one. glucose and maltose. Let's move on to question number 12. When a block of wood A is placed in a liquid, it flows with part immersed. Which of the following is a true statement reaction to this? Okay, so first answer, let's read. The upthrust exerted by the liquid on A is equal to the total weight of A. That's correct, right? If something is greater, let's say if upthrust is greater, the object should be flying, the block should be flying upwards, right? So that's not happening here. So if it is to be floating, right, the weight and the upthrust should be equal. So when it is equal, it will be floating in the liquid. Okay, so first one is correct. In answer number 2, they are telling that it is equal to weight of part. That's wrong. It is equal to upthrust only. So that's wrong. Third one, the volume of the liquid displaced by A is equal to the total volume of A. That's wrong. Why? Because only the volume of liquid displaced will be equal to the volume of part that is inside the liquid part. Okay, so third one also wrong. Fourth one, the density of A is equal to the density of liquid. That's wrong. Because if the densities become equal, it should be floating in the middle of the liquid. That means totally submerged. Okay. Question number 30. Which option correctly indicates the main function of xylem and phloem tissues in a plant? So you have xylem and phloem. Let's read the answers. Normally, if you remind about xylem and phloem, xylem mainly transport water and also it provides mechanical support, right? When you take phloem, the main function is translocation of food. So let's read third one here. Phloem, you have translocation of food. So in phloem, first answer, second answer, fourth answers are wrong. So the only one that is correct is third answer. Silent transport of water, phloem translocation of food. Right. Next one, which of the following oxide does not take part in the extraction of process of iron? So calcium oxide is taken part, right? Why? We are using limestone. So calcium carbonate is decomposed into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. So that is used. So when you take magnesium oxide, it's not used. But carbon dioxide, I told you, by decomposition of calcium carbonate also carbon dioxide is released. When you take silicon dioxide, right, we are putting hematite. That means iron ore with sand, right? So sand contain this silicon dioxide molecules, right? So the one which is not taking part should be magnesium oxide. Answer number 2. So let's move on to question number 15. An alternating voltage was subjected to full wave rectification followed by smoothing by a capacitor. Which of the following graphs illustrate the variation of output voltage with time? So here it has undergone full wave rectification. That means the negative parts of the alternating current should also be converted into positive parts, right? So it should be either 2 or 4, but here they have said smooth by capacitor, right? So if it is smooth, the voltage will not decrease up to 0, right? Capacitor will give its charges that are stored in the capacitor. Okay, so answer should be fourth answer, right? So here, third one, you can say that's a half wave rectification, which is not followed by smoothing by a capacitor. But if you take first one, it's a normal direct current, right? So normally first one and fourth one, if you take the differences, you can see there's a small wave-like thing that is going in a full wave rectified smooth current. But in answer number 1, you can see it's a direct current. That means that voltage should be given by a normal dry cell. Okay, so fourth one is the answer. Question number 16. What is the phenotype ratio obtained when two organisms with genotypes capital T simple T and simple T were crossed? Okay, so I will explain to you like this. Let's say capital T simple T and simple T, right? So this organism can give two types of genes, that is capital T and simple T genes. Simple T can give only simple T genes. So if you exchange this, you can get the ratio, right? So here it becomes capital T simple T and simple T. So here the ratio should be 1:1. So the answer is first one. Let's move on to question number 17. The relative molecular mass of hormone adrenaline is 183. Thus, X in the relationship represents scalar. They are asking an answer from us, right? So 183 is equal to mass of adrenaline molecule divided by, it should be something regarding atomic mass unit, right? So atomic mass unit, we define it as 1/12 the mass of carbon 612 atom, right? So second one should be the answer. X should be something which is equal to atomic mass unit. So that should be answer number 2. Question number 18. Consider the following aqueous solutions of equal concentration. And they are asking which option indicates the increasing order of their pH, right? So if I draw a line like this, let's say you have a line like this, pH 7 is normally neutral, right? So below that, we say it's acidic. Above that, we say it's basic. So moving from left to right, what is happening here is acidity decreases and basicity increases. Okay. So here also, when you take acids, you can divide the acids into two parts, mainly strong acids and weak acids, right? So strong acids have very low pH values, right? So when you take strong bases, it has very high pH values. So here sodium hydroxide is strong base, so I am placing it here in NaOH, which is A. Then HCl, which is a strong acid, I am placing it on the leftmost part, D. And then when you take CH3COOH, that's a weak acid, right? So I will place it in between neutral value and this HCl's pH value. So it will be C. So weak base will be coming here, right? So it will be part B. So the answer that is increasing order is D, C, B, A. Answer should be second one. Okay, let's move on to question number 19. A plant leaf with colors white and green while attached to the plant was set out as following and kept it in an open place. See, you have white color areas, then you have black color areas, then you have green color areas. Okay, black color area means black color paper. Okay, right. So after 2 days, the leaf was detached from the plant and tested for starch. After the test, in which of the following ways would the leaf appear? So after we are testing it for starch, right? The area in which photosynthesis occurring should be in black blue color, right? So if you take this part, these white color areas, there won't be any photosynthesis process happening because in white color area, it doesn't have any chlorophyll pigments, right? So to have photosynthesis, there should be chlorophyll pigments and also there should be carbon dioxide, right? Water, sunlight, everything is needed, right? So when you take the black color covered portion or the black paper covered portion, there the sunlight won't be falling on the leaf. So what will happen there is in that black strip area, there won't be any starch that is formed, right? So the only area which you can find starch is answer number 3. Okay. So these are white color parts in which they don't have any photosynthetic pigments. So they won't do any photosynthesis part here. And also the middle line is the black color paper, right? So when you close with the black color paper, photosynthesis won't occur. Okay, question number 20. You have what is the option that is correctly indicates all the specimens contained in an aqueous solution of hydrochloric acid. So when you take this aqueous solution of HCl or hydrochloric acid, when you take aqueous solution of HCl, right, there should be definitely water, right? So for water, it should be H plus OH minus, as well as it should contain H plus and Cl minus ions, right? This HCl is a strong acid, therefore it should be completely ionizing water. That means there should not be any remaining HCl molecules. So these 4 ions are the ions that can be present in this solution. Okay, so the answer should be first one, they have HCl, so it cannot be because HCl is a strong acid. In the third answer also you have HCl, in the fourth answer you have HCl. Okay, so when you take water molecule dissociates into OH minus and H plus, but its dissociation is very, very low, right? Therefore, water molecule should be remained in the solution, right? So the correct answer should be second one, right? So from O, from the elimination method also, you can eliminate 1, 3, and 4 answers. So answer should be answer number 2. Then question number 21. The total number of atoms in 1 mole of CO2 molecule is, right? So they are asking total number of atoms, not the number of molecules in CO2. Okay. So if you take number of molecules, right? If you take number of molecules, normally carbon dioxide. One carbon dioxide molecule contains how many atoms? 3 atoms. How? One carbon and 2 oxygen. That's why CO2, right? One carbon and 2 oxygen atoms. So altogether, one molecule will contain 3 atoms. So they are asking 1 mole of carbon dioxide molecules, how many atoms are present? Right? So for 1 mole, there should be Avogadro number of molecules. In that Avogadro number of carbon dioxide molecules, atom should be 3 times as that of the molecules. So answer should be first answer. Question number 22. hydrogen sulfide H2S reacts with sulfur dioxide according to the following balanced chemical equation. So they are given the equation there. Then they are asking the amount of moles of sulfur dioxide that reacts with 1 mole of hydrogen sulfide is. So when you take H2S and sulfur dioxide, stoichiometric ratio, that means the number in front of these molecules, right? So if I take sulfur dioxide, it is 1 here, H2S, it's 2, right? So the ratio will be 2:1. Clear? Okay. So they are asking amount of sulfur dioxide that reacts with 1 mole of H2S. So the ratio, you know, it's 2:1. So if you place 1 here, what will be the value of sulfur dioxide? It should be 2:1, and that means sulfur dioxide should be half the number of H2S. So sulfur dioxide should be 0.5. Half the number of 1 is 0.5. So answer should be first answer. Let's move to question number 23. So you have given here is a diagram of a plant cell. What are the parts indicated in it that are seen in animal cells as well? Okay, so when you take cell wall, it is only present in plants, right? When you take chloroplast, it's only present in plants. So you cannot take A, you cannot take B, right? So you can eliminate those ones also. Let's say first one you have A, so you can eliminate first answer. Second answer you have A, you can eliminate. Third answer you have B, so you can eliminate. So only answer that is remaining should be C and D. So C and D is the answer. Question number 24. Consider the following statements about the compounds carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. First one, they are acidic oxides, right? So you know carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, right? Both are non-metallic oxides. That means they are acidic in nature. In part B, they exist as gases under room temperature. That's also correct, right? Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide present as gases. And also they are colorless. That's also correct, right? Why? Carbon and sulfur dioxide don't have any color. So answer should be all A, B, C. Fourth one is the answer. Right. Let's move on to question number 25. In the following figure, A, B, C are 3 beams of light. So they are asking, using a glass lens, one of these beams can be converted into another type of beam that is shown in the figure. Which of the following statement is correctly indicating this conversion? So you have to know mainly 3 beams. That is, you have parallel beams, then you have divergent light rays or divergent light beams, and then you have convergent light beams. So out of these 3, normally convex lenses do converge things, right? Convex lenses converge. Okay, so if you put a convex lens in front of a parallel light beam, it will be converged. And also, if you place convex lens in a diverging beam, those will be going parallel. But if you place a concave lens, those light rays will be diverged. Okay, so if you place like this in a parallel way, if you place a concave lens, what will be happening? It will be diverted, right? And also, if the rays are converging, if you are applying a concave lens, there, those will be gone parallel to the concave lens. Okay, so the answer should be A to B using convex lens. That is correct, right? So first one should be the answer. Let's move to question number 26. Consider an instance where convex lens is used to read a label with a very small letters. Here the label should be placed. Okay, so when you are reading by using a simple microscope, or you can call it as the hand lens, right? The object should be kept in between focal point and the convex lens, right? So the answer should be first answer, right? If you keep it in the focus, what will happen? The image will form will be real and it will form in the infinity. If you take answer number 3, they are telling that away from the lens twice its focus. That's wrong, right? If it is to form that twice of the focal length, it should be placed at twice of the focal length, right? So it's wrong. Fourth one, point which is away from the lens more than twice, that's also wrong, right? If you keep the object in f and 2f, it will occur in somewhere away from 2f. So the answer should be first one, between lens and in focus. Then only you can obtain a virtual magnified image. Okay, right. Okay, let's move to question number 27. Some features observed when an animal was examined are as follows. There are again 4 pentadactyl limbs, glandular skin, broad mouth, and cold bladder, right? So let's move to mainly glandular skin, right? Mostly glandular skins are present in the group Amphibia, right? So when you take reptiles, they have a dry skin with scales, right? So you can remove reptiles. Crocodile is a reptile, tortoise is a reptile. So you can remove answer number 2 and 3. Okay. Then they have said it as cold-blooded. Right? Cold-blooded animals are the animals in which their body temperature changes with the environmental temperature. So when you take otter, otter is a mammal, right? So it's homeothermic, or we say it as warm-blooded. Okay, so answer should be fourth answer, that is taught. 28. A tightly stoppered half-filled bottle of soda water was taken out from the refrigerator and kept outside until it reaches the room temperature. When kept like this, the mole fraction of carbon dioxide. Okay, so you know in soda bottle, soda water means carbonated drink, right? Carbon dioxide is dissolved in the water. Okay, so you know when the temperature is very low, dissolution of air or dissolution of gases in liquid is much more high when there is low temperature, right? So what is happening is the bottle is kept from lower temperature to higher temperature. So what will be happening? The dissolution will be very, very less. So what will be happening there is there will be air molecules, so carbon dioxide molecules going from B to A. So you may have seen it, right? We normally say it as gas again or again, right? Likewise. So when you take parts of bottle A and B, the mole fraction in B decreases while the mole fraction in A should be increasing, right? So the answer should be third one, increases in phase A and decreases in the phase B. Question number 29. In respiration of living organisms, oxygen gas and carbon dioxide gas exchange at the respiratory surface. Accordingly, respiratory surface of human is, right? Okay. So when you take respiratory surface, right, you have alveoli, and from the alveoli surface, so the alveoli wall, respiration takes place. That means intake of carbon dioxide happens and oxygen is given out into the blood vessel. Okay, so here this is happening through alveoli wall, not the alveolus. So this respiratory surface is a place where this diffusion occurs. So that should be alveoli wall. So answer is third one. 30. The Lewis structure of the hydrides of the three elements X, Y, Z are given below. They are asking which of the elements are represented by X, Y, Z. Okay, so you can do this easily, right? So here X, it has 4 lone electrons and 2 bonds. So X should be something which present in group number 6. Why? If you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it should be group 5 element. If you take Z, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 bonds. That means it should be something in group 4. Okay. So when you take Z, something in group 4, carbon is correct, right? So oxygen, so first answer you can neglect, nitrogen you can neglect. Then when you take X and Y, see, Y is a fifth group element, right? So out of this oxygen and nitrogen, fifth group element is nitrogen. So answer should be this one, second answer. 31, a small glass ball and a big iron ball were dropped onto a porcelain surface from the same height. The porcelain surface cracked at the point at which the iron ball hit to it. No such crack was obtained when it is by glass ball. So they are asking, of the following, greatness of which quantity of iron ball than that of glass ball could be reason for this? So normally velocity, it will be same, right? Volume, it will not have a much large impact, but acceleration, when you take it, it will also be same, right? Why? Both of them are falling under gravitational acceleration. That is same. So the answer should be third one, momentum. Right? Difficulty in stopping the moving object is called as momentum, right? So when stopping the moving object, that porcelain surface is correct. Okay. So 31, answer number 3, momentum. Let's move to question number 32. There you have, as shown in the figure, water is filled to the same height from level X in 3 tanks A, B, C. Then they are asking which of the following is correct regarding the pressures PA, BB, VC. Okay, so when you take liquid pressure, there are only 3 factors that are governing the liquid pressure. One is, you know it, pressure is equal to H rho G, right? So one is height of the water column, second one is the density, and third one is the gravitational acceleration, right? So even though these volumes are different, it is filled up to a normal common water level. That means height of the water level is same in A and B and C. So the pressure should also be same. So answer should be fourth answer. Question number 33. The number of electrons and number of neutrons in the ion indicated by symbol Na plus 1123. Okay. So when you take normal sodium 1123, right? This downward part is called as atomic number, and this is equal to protons, and this is equal to electron number. This upward part called it as mass number, and it indicates the sum of protons and neutrons. So they are asking here number of electrons and neutrons in the ion which is formed. Okay, so if you take here, there are 11 electrons, right? So if it become Na plus, what will happen? The electron number will not be same anymore. One electron will be given out. Now the total number of electron will be one less. That means 11 minus 1 should be 10. So electron number should be 10 and neutron number should be the number that is getting by subtracting 11 from 23. So answer should be 12. So 10 and 12 answer. Third one is the answer. Next question 34. What characteristic given below should be studied to distinguish as living and non-living the specimens? A fertilized egg, a piece of meat, bean seed, and a seed before germination, and a dry piece of branch of a plant. Okay, so when you read these parts, you can clearly see that some of these respirate and some of these are dead, right? We find it by the factor respiration, right? Here you cannot find it regarding reproduction, right? Here you cannot see the cellular organization, right? You need a microscope. And when you take growth, you can't go observe the growth suddenly, right? You need some time. But here they have studied living and non-living just by seeing it, okay, in a very short time period. So answer number would be second one, respiration. 35. An electric lamp bulb of a motor car is labeled as 12 volt 0.5 amperes. Consider following statements. So first one, when an electric supply of 12 volt is given across a bulb, the current flowing through it is 0.5 amp. Okay, that's what it says. Okay, so A is correct. B, when the bulb operates normally, its power is 12 into 0.5. Right? Power is equal to voltage into current. That means voltage is 12, current is 0.5. So this is also correct. See, the resistance of the bulb is 12 over 0.5. So let's apply V equal IR. Voltage is 12. I we know it's 0.5 into R. So you can get R is equal to 12 divided by 0.5. That means C also correct. So all A, B, C are correct. Answer should be fourth one. Question number 30. Which diagram correctly indicates the connection of 1 ohm, 5 ohm, and 12 ohm resistors so that the equivalence between A and B is 4 ohms? Okay. So let's try the first one. If you take 1 and 5, these two will be series. That means the equivalent resistance between 1 and 5 is 6 ohms, right? So finally you get a 6 ohm and you have 12 ohm, right? So if you find the equivalent resistance of this, you can find it easily by multiplying the first one, 6 into 12 over 6 plus 12. Or you can apply that equation, 1 over R equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. You can apply that equation also, but it is easy. If you have 2, you can just multiply and divide it by the addition of them. So 6 into 12 is 72 divided by 80. So 72 divided by 80, you can get the answer as 4. So answer should be first one. Question number 37. The diagram illustrates a cross section across the bond close to the sluice of a Weber. What is the structure constructed to reduce the speed of water flow by reducing the pressure when water is released from the tank? Okay, so if the water is released directly, what will happen? It will affect this bond, right? So normally we use Biot couture. That means part C to reduce the pressure so that there was no any big harm to the bond. Okay, so answer should be part C. Question number 38. Some activities carried out after felling trees in a forest are given below. Among them, which one contributes most to increase the carbon dioxide percentage in the atmosphere in a short period of time? So let's say growing vegetable crops that will reduce carbon dioxide. Okay. Second one, letting cut down past decompose naturally. It takes time. Okay. So it is asking for a short period of time. Answer number 3, using parts of timber for construction, where the carbon dioxide release will be less than second one because it is used for construction. It's not decomposing. But if you take fourth one, the trees are cut down. So what is happening? The amount of carbon dioxide will be higher, getting higher because the trees are cut down because trees absorb carbon dioxide during the process of photosynthesis. But when you cut down, the carbon dioxide remaining in the atmosphere will be increased, and also they are burning it, right? So what happens in burning? Carbon dioxide is released mainly. So in a short period of time, increase of carbon dioxide percentage should be from answer number 4. Then question number 39. It has been planned to hold a conference in Sri Lanka in June 2009 on a convention dealing with regulation related to trade of endangered plants and animals. By what name is that convention is taken? Okay, so endangered plant and animals. So this is done by mainly CITES, right? The meaning of CITES is Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species. So when you take Rio Convention, it was done to like address the urgent problems of environmental protection and mainly socio-economic development at that global level. Okay, so that's regarding Rio Convention. If you take sites, it should be the answers that is regarding endangered plants and animals. So when you take Montreal, it was to like control gases which harm the ozone layer, right? Then you have here Ramsar. Ramsar is mainly regarding protection of wetlands, right? And also there is another convention as Kyoto Protocol. It is to minimize the emission of greenhouse gases. So you can write it down and study those. They, they might be asking those in future papers. Okay, right. Let's move on to 40th question. Reduce, reuse, and recycle are three out of the principle used in waste energy management. Which of the following is not a suitable example for reduce, right? Not a suitable example. Okay, so let's read. Switching off unnecessary electrical lamps, that is reducing, right? Okay, eating all the food served for self, that's also reducing wastage. Okay, so when you eat everything, there is no any wastage, right? To manage waste, you should eat. That's also a kind of reduce. Okay. Third one, closing unnecessary open water taps. Okay, that's also reducing the waste manager, reducing wastewater. Fourth one, refraining from using polythene. That's not an example for reduce. So answer should be fourth one. 40th, fourth one is the answer. Okay, so if you have any questions, any doubts regarding this paper, you can just comment below. I will answer those. And also make sure to subscribe if you think this video is useful to you. Thank you.